A new end time sign. This one is being overlooked. We can see end time prophecies being fulfilled all around us, but people are not paying attention. The four horsemen described in the book of Revelation 6 are beginning to somewhat show signs of their work. You only need to look at the last 5 years of the world, and you can see signs of their arrival, signs of their effects upon the earth. The book of Revelation opens you up to the future. No other book comes under more scrutiny than the book of Revelation. There is a prophecy, unbeknownst to many, that is being overlooked by the multitudes. Yet the prophetic occurrence is moving us closer to the conclusion of the book of Revelation. A new end time sign is being overlooked. Yes, my brothers and sisters, this is the message. The prophetic revelation that many ignore, many brush aside. We delve into the profound depths of the book of Revelation, a book scrutinized and dissected more than any, a book that unfolds the future before our eyes. The world, in the past 5 years, bears the scars, the signs of the four horsemen of Revelation 6. They are coming. Their shadows inching ever closer. They are coming. The whispers of their arrival circulate. The murmurs of their impact can be seen. We are called to witness, to discern the unfolding of the third seal, to interpret its consequences and brace ourselves, for the last days are not forthcoming. They are here. This ignored sign, this overlooked prophecy is none other than inflation, an economic woe strangling our society, decimating the value of our currency, the black horse of famine. A harrowing judgment rides, balances in hand, symbolizing a time of scarcity, a time where necessities become luxuries. A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. The inflationary rise 12 times the normal value, rendering life to its barest necessities. Yet, oil and wine and less crucial supplies still within the reach of those with the means. The common man struggles, yet the luxuries persist for the affluent. We, my brethren, are witnesses to this prophetic enactment, observing the black rider gradually gracing the world stage. But I am here to ignite a beacon of hope amidst this growing darkness. The Lord of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob towers above inflation, above every earthly woe. Our God never abandons his children. He watches over us. He knows our every need, and he cares for us more than the sparrows. We do not walk alone through the valley of the shadow of death. We do not succumb to fear, for God walks with us. Let us be like David, acknowledging the Lord as our shepherd, our protector, our provider. Let us fear no evil, no uncertainty, no policy change. Our God is in control, the sustainer of our souls. Hold on to the promises of Matthew 10, verses 29 through 31, and Psalms 23. We are not abandoned. We are not alone. God watches over every family, every single mother, every single man and woman.
Revelation 6, verses 1 to 8. I watched as the Lamb opened the first of the 7 seals. Then I heard one of the 4 living creatures say in a voice like thunder, "Come!" I looked, and there before me was a white horse. Its rider held a bow, and he was given a crown, and he rode out as a conqueror bent on conquest. When the Lamb opened the 2nd seal, I heard the 2nd living creature say, "Come." Then another horse came out, a fiery red one. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make people kill each other. To him was given a large sword. When the Lamb opened the 3rd seal, I heard the 3rd living creature say, "Come." I looked, and there before me was a black horse. Its rider was holding a pair of scales in his hand. Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the 4 living creatures saying, 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, and 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages, and do not damage the oil and the wine. When the Lamb opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th living creature say, Come. I looked, and there before me was a pale horse. Its rider was named Death, and Hades was following close behind him. They were given power over 1/4 of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth.
John saw a revelation of 7 seals that were being opened in heaven. Our particular interest is to beam a searchlight on the event that followed after the opening of the 3rd seal and find out its significance. More so, we must get prepared. The last days are no longer a future, it is now. Immediately, the 3rd seal was opened, and John was directed to observe another horse, which was different from the former. The horse that John saw was a black horse signifying famine, a terrible judgment of God which will come upon the world in the last days, and especially during the Great Tribulation. The one who sat on the horse had a pair of balances in his hand. The black horse represents famine, and its rider had a pair of balances, suggesting that a time is coming when the people of the earth must eat their bread by measures, not out of being conservative, but for the sake of abject shortage of food. A great number of Bible scholars believe that Revelation 6, verses 5 and 6, is referring to inflation. Inflation is the decline of purchasing power of a given currency over time. A quantitative estimate of the rate at which the decline in purchasing power occurs can be reflected in the increase of an average price level of a basket of selected goods and services in an economy over some period of time. The phrase, a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny, reflects the inflationary rise indicated in this Bible verse. The prices detailed in this verse are about 12 times higher than normal. This means that it would cost a day's wage to buy the ingredients for a loaf of bread. This describes a time of famine when life will be reduced to the barest of necessities. The phrase, "see thou hurt not the oil and the wine," refers to the fact that less crucial supplies are available to those who can purchase them. In other words, the luxuries of life will be available for those who can afford them. Currently, we are all aware that the value of our money is depreciating and becoming of lesser value than it used to be. Inflation measures how quickly prices are rising across the U.S. economy. In August, the CPI increased 3.7% from 12 months earlier, up from 3.2% in July, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics stated. The rate has fallen from a pandemic-era peak of 9.1% in June 2022, the highest since 1981. The CPI is a key barometer of inflation, measuring prices of anything from fruits and vegetables to haircuts and concert tickets. Although inflation has dropped in the recent months, there is a common misconception that a lot of people have. A vast majority of people, when they hear inflation has dropped, have the misconception that this means the prices of goods and services are now dropping or getting cheaper. That is not correct. That is called deflation. When we hear that the rate of inflation is dropping, it essentially means the prices of goods and services are still rising, but not at the same speed as they once were. So essentially, prices are still rising, just not at the same speed as they were previously. Therefore, in this year, we can still see the warning signs of the arrival of the black horse. We can see the prophetic event happening and the rider with a black horse slowly arriving onto the world stage. But I want to encourage you today. Do not be disheartened. Do not live in fear. You need to remember this, although you are living in an ever-changing world, a world that is dealing with inflation. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is bigger than inflation. You don't have to stay up at night worried and concerned about the future. This world will do that to you. This world will make you stress and worry and stress some more and add a little anxiety on top of all of that stress and worry. What you need to remember is that you have a God who is still in control. God is watching over you. In all my years, I have never seen a Christian that God has abandoned. God is watching over you. The rate of inflation going up should not surprise us. I believe what we are seeing is only the tip of the iceberg. The black rider will eventually come with all his force. But as a child of God, you don't have to live in fear. Now I want to read you a chapter in the book of Psalms. It is arguably one of the most known chapters in the Bible. But I want to read it for you like you have never had it read before. Notice the change in Psalms 23. David goes from talking about God in the third person to talking to God directly. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Now here in verse 4, the change from he to thou. But then, in the shadows of the valley of death, a transformation occurs within the psalm. The voice changes from he to thou. It's here in the proximity of peril and shadow that David's talk becomes a direct communion, a personal conversation with God. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. My brother, my sister, God is with you. Never forget that. I will fear no evil. I will not fear the future. I will not fear the present. I will not fear the economy. I will not fear policy change, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. David's shift from speaking about God to speaking directly to God reveals a profound intimacy and reliance on the Lord. Matthew 10, verses 29 through 31. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care. And even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. If God cares for the sparrows and numbers the very hairs of our head, then he will also pay careful attention to our needs. God cares about you so much. He will not abandon you. Regardless of what the government does in whatever country you live in, hold on to Matthew 10, verses 29 through 31 and Psalms 23. God is with you. If you are a single man or single woman, God is with you. If you are a single mother and feel as if you are alone, you are not alone. God is with you, and he will not abandon you. God is watching over your family. This world will not last for all of eternity. The stresses and concerns of this world are only for a moment. But in heaven, you will spend all eternity with God. Topics like this make me long and look forward to heaven.